Hi, and welcome to HR Tuesday Tips with the Millers. I'm Janine Miller.
And I'm Lori Miller, your training and development SME. Today we're actually going to give you some examples to consider when we're talking about traits and characteristics. We throw these terminologies out and we want to make sure that you actually understand what they are and how you can use them effectively in your selection and interviewing process. So let's talk about traits and characteristics.
Okay,
What do they mean?
some common things that or concerns that clients have actually are what am I talking about related to traits? What do they really need to look for? So I want to just identify some that are common to almost any position actually,
Good.
such as attitude, communication, problem solving, creativity, critical thinking ability, teamwork. We always want people that can work with other people. In fact, that actually becomes one of the most important things in the workplace these days. It's all that relationship stuff. Integrity, of course, leadership, if that in fact is tied to the position, decision making, flexibility, just as a few common ones that most people need when they're hiring. So that's what we mean when we talk about traits. And then you stop and say, well, then where do I go from there? We ask that you just identify even the top 3 or 4 traits that are specifically related to the job that you're hiring for again. So you focus on that job description once again. But I want to talk about, just really give you an example actually, because sometimes it's hard to really understand what we're talking about. So say you're hiring a customer service associate. You stop and say, what are the critical job activities? Well, they're going to answer phones. They're going to be greeting your customers or clients. And then they're going to be addressing any kind of problems or questions that come up. So then you say, well, what types of competencies or skills do we need when we move forward? So I would suggest for this, certainly you need good communication skills, good customer service skills, and good decision-making skills. So then finally, you're going to develop those questions that would give you a sense of whether they can do that for you. And again, you're focusing the questions on those skills and competencies that you just identified. So we really, again, we want you to focus and take the time on what you're actually looking for. Don't just throw everything at the position.
Yeah.
Keep it focused.
And make sure you identify what they look like in action. We talk about communication skills, team building skills, attitude, decision making. What do they look like in action? And that's when we talk about interviewing, having some behavioral based interview questions, because then you can actually demonstrate, do they know how to demonstrate all these key characteristics?
Exactly.
But we've been talking about a lot of external candidates, but don't forget about your internal candidates as well. You're talking about traits and characteristics. Well, I've got good team building skills. I got good communication skills. I want to be considered for that position.
Yep.
So I can stress for organizations, not only do you make sure that you're identifying key external candidates, but internal candidates as well. And that's why you need to have an effective career development and succession planning process in place. If you have openings, where can an internal employee go to possibly ask about if they're qualified for that position, what internal process that they go through. So that's a whole process you need to have in place, and that's one thing that we want to make sure that you have as our clients and potential customers, that you know how to do some of these. And there's great resources that we have at both of our websites if you want some templates and tools that you understand what an effective career development and succession planning process looks like within your organization.
Okay, and also just to pick up on that, this is another answer to reducing turnover. If people feel that there's somewhere they can move, and let me just use a client example I have. It's a restaurant, and the individual started as a dishwasher and loved working there, worked very hard. Next thing you know, they were very happy about learning how to cook. So again, and then the next step from there was they were bartenders. And, you know, so it doesn't matter what kind of business you have, you always have something else that could either enrich a person's job experience or literally get them promotional and opportunities with more money. So again, small or large, this all applies to you.
Absolutely. And the number one motivator for our employees is achievement. So they always want to reach their fullest potential, be the best versions of themselves. You need to provide all those opportunities for them on a regular basis. So, all right, so I think that's it for today's segment. Hopefully we give you some information to digest and help you with all of your selection, interviewing, and career development processes. So relax, sit back, we got this.